All right, so this is the second roundup video that I'm making where I just go over a bunch of films that I've seen recently that I would like to recommend to everyone. So let's just get right into it. This film feels like you're watching a twisted legacy sequel to a long lost 60s Euro spy film. If you're familiar with the filmmakers, they most notably did Let the Corpses Tan several years ago. I really love that film. Then you know to expect something that is incredibly visceral and strange and psychedelic. It's exactly my cup of tea, and I had a really good time with it. This is a delightful hangout film from Richard Linklater, bringing his very breezy and freewheeling approach to the filming of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. It's very fun, very light on its feet, and it's very funny as well. And it also serves as a love letter, not just to Godard and his iconic film, but also the general film community that brought on the French New Wave. Easily one of the most gut-wrenching watches of the year, which blends dramatization with documentary-style choices that are both incredibly striking but also emotionally harrowing. And it does a good job at really putting you right there with the characters. I think this is one of the most essential watches of 2025. Look, I really enjoy these movies. I know their popularity can seem very inexplicable to some people, but I think James Cameron is the kind of filmmaker who just knows how to tap into something that is incredibly universal, even at his most indulgent, which this definitely is. But when this thing hits, this is some of the most exhilarating piece of blockbuster filmmaking since basically the last Avatar movie. This is China's submission for the Oscars, and it's an engrossing look at the Japanese occupation of Nanjing and the atrocities committed against the local population. It is incredibly dark and unflinching, but it still captures the resilience of the human spirit in even the most dire of circumstances in a way that I found very moving. A 90s period piece that kind of feels like it would have been one of those stylish indie movies that would have come out during the mid 90s. I think Tom Blythe gives one of the best performances of the year, and it's largely gone unsung during awards season. He plays a cop who entraps gay men who are out cruising, and he ends up catching feelings for one of the men that he was targeting. If anything, I'm just very excited to see what filmmaker Carmen Emmy does next because his voice and style is so distinct and effective. I can't wait to see what he does with even more resources. Imagine something like Eraserhead, but from the perspective of a newlywed Indian woman, and that'll give you an idea of what kind of experience you'll be getting yourself into with this film, because it is a very strange film. It's very off-putting, it's gross, and it's also just very, very funny. This is Radhika Apte at her very best, and I really can't wait to see what director Karan Kandari does next. This is a very under-the-radar film, but I think this is worth checking out. In a post-Luigi Mangione world, I think Gus Van Sant's new film really captures a lot of the public's feelings and frustrations when it comes to the apathy of those in power and the sort of twisted satisfaction that comes when someone takes action, even if it's morally dubious action. This is based on a real thing that happened back in 1977, and I wanted to learn more about it after I saw the film, and it's a really fascinating story, and Bill Skarsgård is terrific. This is easily my favorite film from Bradley Cooper so far. There's such a strong focus and sense of intimacy with the characters that I think gives each of them justice in the storytelling. I think the script is really sharp, very funny, but also just really honest when it comes to relationships, especially between people who are not 20-somethings and have to come to terms with how they need to embrace themselves in a way that they maybe couldn't allow themselves to before. I know we've seen plenty of these kind of, relationships falling apart type of movies, but this is one of the best one of those that I've seen in a while. And that concludes this roundup video. I will probably make one more of these in like early January as I'm catching up to more stuff. And then I will probably get to work on the favorite films of 2025 video, which will take a while to edit, so you won't be seeing that for a bit. But until then, I will see you all around. And if you've seen any of these films, then feel free to let me know what you thought of them in the comments.